The Watchers of Ratanakiri, Curse of the Neak Ta. Ratanakiri, 17th century. In the dense, untamed forests of Ratanakiri, where the trees whispered forgotten secrets and rivers flowed like veins through the land, the villagers of the Kreyong tribe lived in quiet harmony. Their lives were entwined with the spirits of the land, the Neak Ta, ancient guardians who watched over their homes, crops and families. These spirits, tied to sacred stones, trees and ancestral shrines, offered protection in exchange for respect and offerings. But one fateful year, the tribe grew complacent. The villagers had forgotten to make their annual offering to the Neak Ta. It was a simple ceremony, but after a bountiful harvest, life became busy and traditions slipped into the shadows. The elders spoke in hushed tones, warning that the spirits were growing restless, but few listened. They had known prosperity, and the fear of the spirits seemed like an old tale meant to scare children into obedience. Until the rain stopped. At first it was just a delay, nothing unusual. But weeks passed, and the clouds stayed barren, turning the once fertile fields into cracked earth. Rivers dried, and hunger began gnawing at the village. Desperation grew like a poison. The elders pleaded to the Neak Ta, offering prayers and small sacrifices, but it was too late. The spirits were enraged. Then came the sickness. It began with the village's children. They would wake in the night screaming of shadowy figures watching from the edges of the forest, their eyes burning red like embers in the dark. The children would grow feverish, their skin pale and cold, their bodies riddled with boils. No healer could cure them, and soon they died one by one. Every burial mound added to the weight of guilt that hung over the village like a suffocating fog. Whispers spread that the Neak Ta had turned against them, that they had become vengeful. Some said they saw figures in the forest, silhouettes that weren't human, but moved with the grace of spirits. The villagers, in their panic, decided to make an offering greater than any before, a blood sacrifice. The elders led a ritual deep in the forest, at the sacred shrine of the Neak Ta, a gnarled tree whose roots seemed to pulse with dark energy. They believed that by offering a life, they could appease the spirits. The village chose Vikaya, a widow whose husband had disappeared mysteriously in the forest months earlier. She went willingly, her eyes hollow with grief, convinced she had nothing left to live for. But as they raised the ceremonial blade, the ground trembled. The sky darkened, though no clouds gathered. From the shadows of the trees, figures emerged, tall and gaunt, their bodies shrouded in smoke, their faces distorted like reflections in a broken mirror. The Neak Ta had come, but not to accept the sacrifice. They had come to claim what was theirs. A voice, deep and ancient, echoed through the forest.
You have forgotten us. You will pay.
The village descended into chaos as the spirits unleashed their fury. Flames erupted from the earth, consuming the crops and homes. Those who tried to flee were caught by the Neak Ta, their bodies twisted into unnatural forms, their screams swallowed by the forest. The spirits were no longer protectors. They were executioners, punishing the tribe for their hubris. In the midst of the carnage, Vikaya stood frozen, her eyes wide as the spirits approached her. She did not scream, did not run. She whispered a prayer to her lost husband, hoping to join him in the afterlife. But the Neak Ta had other plans for her. She was spared, but cursed. Her body became a vessel for the spirits, her eyes glowing with an eerie light. Vikaya, now a living embodiment of the Neak Ta's wrath, was forced to wander the forest, eternally bound to the land she had once called home. She became a warning, a ghostly figure seen at the edge of the trees, her presence a reminder that the spirits must never be forgotten. The village of the Kreyong was never rebuilt. Those who ventured into the forest after spoke of a haunted land, where the air felt thick with unseen eyes, and whispers filled the wind. The few who survived told the tale of the Neak Ta, their vengeance, and the woman who had become their eternal guardian. Generations later, the people of Ratanakiri still offer their sacrifices, careful never to forget the spirits that watch from the shadows, for they know that once the Neak Ta are angered, they do not forgive. In the dark, mysterious forests of Ratanakiri, the legend of the Neak Ta lives on, where the spirits guard the land, and a single mistake could doom a village. And somewhere, on the edge of the village ruins, the ghost of Vichea still walks, her eyes glowing in the night, waiting for the next soul to forget.